What's up? This is All From a Phone, and guys, today I got something going on with the car. Wanted to show you something that another YouTuber, not a YouTuber, but somebody commented on my channel and said that they loved their XRS and they had something called the Speed Source Extended Push Rod, and I was kind of curious to know what that was. So I went to Monkey Wrench Racing and I found on there where they sell the Speed Source push rod. This is pretty much it. It's for your slave cylinder. See it there? It says clutch slave cylinder, and pretty much all it is that it's a little longer than your stock push rod. So if you look down there, it's kind of, let me see if I can turn on the brightness here. I don't think I can, but anyways, your slave cylinder is right here, so right up underneath your throttle body. Let me see if I could stick my finger in there so you can see it. This right here, there's two bolts here. They come out, I don't know if you can see them there, but there's two bolts on the top part of it. Just take it out, slide the old rod out, slide the new rod in, and you're good to go. I mean, it shouldn't take me too long to do. I'm gonna do it real quick, and then I'll show you guys what the old one looks like, and I'll compare the sizes of the old and the new. Alright guys, just to give you a better shot of it, there's the slave cylinder. So pretty much what happens here, if you guys don't know how this works, there's a line that goes to the back of here. It uses pretty much brake fluid because your clutch is hydraulic, and it pushes fluid through here, and there's a rod that rides inside of this rubber hose, not rubber hose, but the rubber boot right here, and then that rod pushes this out, and that's what engages and disengages your clutch. Okay, so the two bolts that you're gonna need to be taking out is, let me see if it focuses real quick. Let me just take it down there. Those two bolts. Those are gonna be the two bolts that you're gonna be taking out, and then this will come loose. You see the rod right there. I'll push this back a little bit, and you can see it a little better. But anyways, you'll see the rod. It pulls right out of there. You're not gonna need any issues. Oh, and also if you need to bleed it, there's the bleeder valve. It's a 10 mil bleeder valve. You just pump your clutch and then bleed the fluid. So just wanted to show you guys a better shot of it. Like I said, those are two 12mm bolts. Take a 12mm bolt, unbolt those two, and it should come right out. Alright guys, I'm gonna unbolt those two bolts and then continue. Alright guys, so those two bolts are off. Just to show you, see? Comes right out. Probably gonna need both hands to take this rod out of here, but as you can see, it's loose from the block. So I gotta use both hands, guys. But I'll pull this rod out from in here, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Alright guys, so probably the easiest way to do this is just to take the rubber boot off the back part of it and just take it out with the rubber boot. Separating this from here is kind of a pain in the butt, but I'm going to take this out of the rubber boot just to show you. One second, let's take this out real quick. Look at the size difference of this. Really big size difference. Okay, so the idea of this, guys, is... Oh shit. Wait a minute. damn it. Oh, shit. Alright, hold on. Alright, guys, so this happened. This popped out of the clutch cylinder. Oops. Just gonna have to put it in there and then bleed the system, which is more than I needed to do, but it is what it is. This looks like it's in good condition. There's no issues with this, so I am gonna throw some grease in here on the inside of there, just so it doesn't squeak or anything like that when I put it back in. But it just goes right back into the cylinder. But sucks that it fell out, but whatever. Anyways, so I'm gonna put this back on and bleed my system now. How it needs to be bled, but it is what it is. All right, guys, let me do that. And as I was saying before that happened, look at the size difference in those plungers. I mean, there's massive difference. So it's gonna, pretty much what this does is it helps with clutch engagement. This car, when you put an aftermarket clutch on this car, it's sometimes very hard to put into gear when you're shifting fast, and it's because you're not putting enough pressure onto the clutch to disengage it quick enough. So this pretty much what it does, it just pushes it a good amount or deep enough every single time you hit the clutch, since it's a longer rod. So it should help with shifting. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then once I get this, like I said, guys, once I get this all done up, I'll go for a test drive and test out the theory. Alright, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Alright, guys, so before I assemble this back, I'm gonna put some grease on the inside of this. So like this goes into the slave cylinder, and then the rod, the back side of the rod, is gonna sit on the inside of there. And I don't know if you guys have ever noticed when you hit the clutch, sometimes you hear like a squeak. That usually comes from the metal to metal on the inside of this, and the metal contact for the actual push, the push rod that's on there. So the rod hits the metal or metal parts and it causes a noise. So I'm gonna grease that end and this end, so that way I don't have any noises. So I'm gonna put this all back together and then show you guys what it looks like when it's all back together. So this is just regular high temp grease. You can get this at any auto parts store, it's cheap. It says it's for brake disc and bearing grease, but honestly it works for anything. Typically bearings get really hot, so anything you put this on that needs grease, you're not gonna get it hot enough to mess it up. So this is probably the best grease to put on stuff. Alright, so I'm gonna put this back together like I said, and then I'm gonna have to bleed the brakes. Alright, guys. Alright, guys, real quick, to make this easier for yourself, there's 10 bolt here and a 10 mil bolt there. Just take those two 10 mil bolts, and this slides right out, and it'll be out of your way. To put it back on is a little bit harder than to put it in. I mean, to take it out, because the line kind of fights you when you're trying to put it back on. So you need all the space you can get. And like I said, those two bolts come out and this slides right out, just to give yourself more space. Alright, guys, like I said, two bolts and it comes right out. Pretty much just so I can show you where it bolts in. One bolt there, one bolt there, and then these little sliders slide into little brackets that are on. You see those black pieces with two holes on each side of it? Right there and right there. So this way, look how much space now I have. I have tons of space to put that back on there and to bleed. So yeah. Also, so you can see what inserts look like. These are my mount inserts. One here, and then the rear mount has one. Looks exactly like that. Alright, guys, so I'm gonna put this back on, bleed the brakes. I keep saying the brakes, the clutch. Bye. Guys, so the old one for safekeeping, putting it right back in here. And so you can see everything's put back together. The rod is definitely a lot longer. I just finished bleeding, that's why there's fluid all over the place. But got a nice firm clutch pedal. Still squeaking a little bit when I hit the clutch, but over time that'll go away. Put my lid back on for my brake master cylinder. Now if you guys are wondering where the fluid goes, it goes right where the brake master cylinder fluid is. It shares the same master cylinder, so there's two lines coming from there. So I'm gonna just put my radiator, not my radiator, but my radiator fan back on. But I just wanted to show you guys what the finished product looked like, and then go for a little test run. Just want to get up. Alright guys, so I just went on my little test drive and it helps a lot. I mean a lot. Shifts are much smoother because the clutch engages perfectly. I would suggest this to anybody that's upgrading their clutch. It's a must-have. So if you are upgrading your clutch and your flywheel and you want the best engagement possible, you need to have this. It's like $30-something, but it's worth every single penny. So that's pretty much it, guys. I wasn't gonna make a video of me running the car because honestly you can't really quantify how good or bad it feels. You have to just drive it yourself. So it's 100% makes it feel better. So guys, if you are looking for good clutch engagement, easier shifting, speed source, push rod extender is a must-have, especially if you're running an aftermarket clutch. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give me a thumbs up if you did, don't thumbs down, and hit that subscribe button. And guys, also want to do an update real quick for the dyno. I've been trying to get into this dyno for the past, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks, and this guy just, the owner of the shop is in the hospital and he's, you know, having a difficult time right now. So I'm trying to get into dyno this car so that you guys can see what the dyno numbers are, and I'll have a really good video for that. But for right now, guys, I'm waiting on some other stuff for the car, and I don't know if I'm gonna dyno it after or before. I really want to dyno it before I get this stuff because I want to see the power differences. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said before, give me a thumbs up if you did. If you didn't like the video, don't thumbs down. Alright guys, peace out.